There is an old saying that I think about often. A fish with its mouth closed never gets caught. In the world of finance, your mouth is not an asset. It is the biggest liability on your balance sheet. Most people think that wealth is about loud cars, loud clothes, and loud conversations. They think it is about showing the world that you have made it, but they are wrong. Real wealth is quiet. Real power is silent. And the moment you break that silence, you invite a force that can destroy everything you have built. Welcome to the Shadow Code. Today, we are going to talk about the 5 financial secrets you must never share with anyone. Not your neighbors, not your coworkers, and in some cases, not even your family. Before we get to the specific secrets, you need to understand the environment we are living in. I call it the dark forest of wealth. Imagine you are walking through a dark forest at night. You have a flashlight. If you turn it on and shine it around, you might feel better for a moment. You might feel proud that you have a light. But in a dark forest, a light does not attract friends. It attracts predators. Human nature has not changed in 10,000 years. We are wired for envy. We are wired for competition. Sociologists call this the crab bucket effect. If you put one crab in a bucket, it can crawl out. But if you put 10 crabs in a bucket and one tries to crawl out, the other 9 will grab its legs and pull it back down. They do not pull it down because they want to escape. They pull it down because they do not want it to escape. When you share your financial success, or your next big move, or your brilliant investment strategy, you are not inspiring people. You are triggering their biological instinct to pull you back into the bucket. You are creating resistance where there was none. In ancient times, people believed in the evil eye. They believed that a look of envy could curse your good fortune. Today, we call it by different names. We call it lawsuits. We call it borrowing money. We call it bad advice given by jealous friends. We call it social pressure. But the mechanism is the same. When you broadcast your signal, you jam your own frequency. In the game of capitalism, information is the most valuable commodity. Think about how I invest. When I am buying shares of a company, let's say Apple or Coca-Cola, do I go on television and talk about it? Do I tweet about it? No, I go completely dark. I buy in silence. Day after day, week after week, I accumulate my position in the shadows. Why? Because if I told you I was buying, the price would go up. The seller would want more. The competition would rush in. My edge would disappear. Silence is what allows me to buy $1 for 50 cents. The moment I speak, the opportunity cost skyrockets. You must view your life the same way. You are the CEO of your own life, and a CEO never reveals his strategic map to the enemy. And make no mistake, in the fight for financial freedom, almost everyone who is not on your payroll is a potential enemy. This sounds dark. I know. You want to believe that everyone wants the best for you. You want to believe that your friends will applaud when you make your first million. But let me tell you the brutal truth. Your success holds up a mirror to their failure. When you tell them you made money, they don't hear, "He is smart." They hear, "I am stupid." And to protect their ego, they will subconsciously try to sabotage you. They will tell you it's a bubble. They will tell you to sell. They will ask for a loan. They will guilt trip you into paying for dinner. Silence protects you from all of this. Silence is not just about keeping secrets. It is a strategic camouflage. It allows you to move through the world unbothered. It allows you to compound your money without the friction of other people's opinions. Now we are going to walk through the 5 specific things you must keep in the vault. These are not just tips. These are the laws of survival. If you violate them, you leak your power. If you keep them, you build a fortress that no one can breach. Let's enter the forest. Let us begin with the first secret. This is the foundation of the Shadow Code. You must never, under any circumstances, reveal the exact number of your net worth to anyone outside of your legal spouse and your tax accountant. This sounds simple. But in a world of social media, flexes, and ego-driven conversations, it is the hardest discipline to master. You might feel the urge to tell your best friend that you just crossed the $1 million mark. You want to share the joy. You want a pat on the back. But you must understand the dark law of human psychology. Once people know the number, they stop seeing you as a friend. They start seeing you as a bank. I call this the Audit Trap. Let me explain exactly how this destroys relationships. When your friends and family think you earn roughly the same amount as them, you are peers. You are equals. If you go out to dinner and you say, "I cannot afford the lobster tonight, let's get a burger," they nod, they understand, they respect your budget, But the moment they know you are sitting on a pile of cash, the dynamic shifts instantly. Suddenly, every dollar you spend is audited by them. If you refuse to buy the expensive wine, they do not think you are being prudent. They think you are being stingy. They say things like, "Come on, Warren, you can afford it. You are rich. Why are you being so cheap?" They feel entitled to your money. They believe that because you have a financial surplus and they have a financial deficit, you have a moral obligation to fix their problems. If you do not pay for the dinner, you are a bad friend. If you do not loan them money for their car repair, you are selfish. You lose the right to say no without becoming the villain in their story. This is why you see so many lottery winners end up depressed and alone. It is not the money that ruined them. It is the fact that everyone knew about the money. They became a walking target. Every cousin they haven't seen in 20 years suddenly shows up with a sob story. Every neighbor has a business idea that just needs a little capital. When you reveal your net worth, you put blood in the water. And you cannot blame the sharks for coming. That is what sharks do. You must also understand the concept of price discrimination. This is an economic term, but it applies to your daily life. When you walk into a negotiation, information is leverage. If a contractor comes to fix your roof and he sees an old Honda in the driveway and you look like a struggling retiree, he gives you the fair market price. But if he knows you just sold your company for $10 million, the price of that roof repair just tripled. He is not charging you for the labor. He is charging you a tax on your success. He thinks, this guy has so much money, he won't even notice the extra $5,000. And he is right. He might not notice it. But that is how wealth bleeds away. Death by 1,000 cuts. If you want to get the best deal, you must be perceived as someone who needs a good deal. Look at me, I have billions of dollars, but I live in the same house I bought in 1958. I drive a modest car. I eat fast food. People think this is just me being a quirky old man. They're wrong. This is a strategic defense mechanism. By appearing ordinary, I keep my interactions honest. People do not try to gouge me because I do not project the image of a walking ATM machine. There is tremendous power in being underestimated. When people think you are just getting by, they lower their guard. They tell you the truth. They do not try to manipulate you. But the moment you flash the Rolex or talk about your portfolio size, the masks go on. So how do you handle this? You practice the art of strategic poverty. When people ask how you are doing financially, you never lie, but you never tell the whole truth. You say things like, well, the market is tough right now. Or you say, I have a lot of expenses with the kids. Or you say, everything is tied up in illiquid assets. You keep it vague. You keep it boring. You want them to think you are doing okay, but that you are not liquid. If they think you are cash poor, they will never ask you for a loan. And if they never ask, you never have to say no. And if you never have to say no, the friendship survives. Protecting your number is not about being secretive for the sake of it. It is about protecting the equality in your relationships. Money creates a hierarchy. If you want to keep your friends, keep the hierarchy hidden. Let them guess, let them wonder, but never ever give them the receipt. Now we move to the second secret. This one is about your future. You must never reveal your next move until you have already made it. This applies to your investments, this applies to your business ideas, and this applies to your career changes. There is a deep biological flaw in the human brain that destroys your ability to achieve big goals. Psychologists call it the premature celebration. Here's what happens. You have a great idea. You decide you are going to start a company. You are excited. The adrenaline is pumping. So you go to dinner with your friends and you tell them everything. You lay out the whole plan. And your friends say, wow, that is amazing. You are so smart. That is going to be huge. In that moment, your brain releases a massive hit of dopamine. It gives you the pleasure of achievement before you have done a single minute of actual work. Your brain cannot tell the difference between the validation of talking about it and the satisfaction of actually doing it. So you go home and you feel full. The hunger is gone. You wake up the next morning and you have no drive to execute. You have already received the reward without paying the price. Talking is the enemy of execution. But there is a darker, more dangerous reason to keep your next move silent. It's called sabotage. Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War, let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. If you tell people your strategy, you are handing them the weapon to use against you. In business, if I tell the world I am accumulating shares in a specific sector, the prices go up instantly. I am creating my own competition. I am destroying my own edge. In your career, if you tell your coworker you are applying for that promotion, You think you are just sharing news, but they might be competing for the same role. Now they know your hand. They can start spreading rumors. They can block you. They can outmaneuver you, not because they are evil, but because they are human. Humans compete for resources. And then there are the critics. The moment you announce a big plan, you invite the skeptics into your life. They will tell you all the reasons why it will fail. They will say the economy is bad. They will say you do not have the experience. They will say that has never been done before. These doubts are like a virus. They plant a seed of fear in your mind. And when things get hard, and things always get hard, that seed will grow into paralysis. You will start to hear their voices in your head. You will think maybe they were right. Maybe I should just stay safe. You must protect your vision in the early stages. A new idea is like a baby. It is fragile. It cannot survive the cold wind of criticism. It needs warmth. It needs protection. You have to keep it in the incubator of silence until it is strong enough to stand on its own. Do not tell people what you are going to do. Show them what you have done. Results are the only thing that cannot be argued with. When you show up with the finished product, with the signed contract, with the check in hand, nobody can tell you it is impossible because it is already real. You must learn to operate in the shadows. Think about the most powerful people in history. They did not broadcast their intentions. They moved quietly. They built their fortresses while everyone else was busy talking. The urge to share your plans is just your ego asking for attention. It is your insecurity asking for reassurance. Starve the ego, feed the work. Let the results make the noise for you. Let us move to the third secret. This is the one that separates the wealthy from the wannabes. You must never share your edge. Your edge is the specific knowledge, the unique strategy, or the unfair advantage that allows you to make money. In the investment world, we call this alpha. It is the ability to beat the market. There is a fundamental law in economics called the efficient market hypothesis. It states that if a way to make money becomes public knowledge, everyone will do it, and the profit will disappear. It is like finding a $20 bill on the sidewalk. You can pick it up, but if you tell 1,000 people there are $20 bills on that sidewalk, by the time you get back, they will all be gone. If you find a goose that lays golden eggs, you do not invite your neighbors to come and look at the goose. You build a fence, you build a wall, you put a lock on the gate, because if you show them the goose, sooner or later, someone will try to steal it, or the government will try to tax it, or your competition will try to clone it. Look at Coca-Cola. I have owned Coca-Cola stock since 1988. Do you know what their most valuable asset is? It is not the factories. It is not the trucks. It is the recipe. The formula for Coca-Cola is one of the most guarded secrets in the history of commerce. It is kept in a vault in Atlanta. Only 2 people know the full formula at any given time, and they are not allowed to fly on the same plane. Why go to such lengths? Because if they published the recipe on the internet tomorrow, there would be 10,000 generic versions of Coke. Their margin would collapse. Their moat would dry up. They understand that secrecy is the source of their profit. But in the age of social media, people do the opposite. They find a way to make money. Maybe it is a drop shipping niche. Maybe it is a trading algorithm. Maybe it is a real estate loophole. And what do? They go on YouTube and they teach everyone how to do it. They sell a course for $99. They trade their golden goose for a little bit of fame. And then they wonder why the strategy stops working. It stops working because you told the world. You created your own competition. You turned your alpha into beta. You must understand this brutal truth. If someone is selling you a map to a gold mine, it is because the mine is empty. If the mine was full, they would be digging, not selling maps. True winners are silent. They are busy exploiting the inefficiency in the market before anyone else notices. So if you have found an edge, keep it, protect it. Do not let your ego trick you into bragging. Your ego wants to show the world how smart you are. It wants to explain the complex method you use to win. But your bank account wants you to look like a lucky idiot. Let people think you are just lucky. Let them think you stumbled into success. While they are debating your luck, you are compounding your advantage. The moment you explain your magic trick, the audience stops applauding and starts trying to copy it. Never give away the recipe. Now we arrive at the fourth secret. This is the most painful one because it involves the people you love the most. You must never tell your children or your extended family exactly how much money they're going to inherit. There is a poison that destroys wealthy families. It is not drugs. It is not gambling. It is the knowledge of future wealth. I have seen this tragedy play out 1,000 times. A successful father builds a business. He makes millions. And he tells his children, don't worry, one day this will all be yours. In that moment, he thinks he is giving them security. But in reality, he just took away their hunger. He took away their drive. Why study hard in school if you know you're going to be rich anyway? Why take a risk and start your own career if you have a golden parachute waiting for you? We call this the waiting game. The children stop building their own lives and start waiting for their parents to die. It sounds horrific, but it is a subconscious shift. They become what Charlie Munger called trust fund babies with gray hair. They are 50 years old and they have never done anything real because the shadow of the inheritance paralyzed them. My philosophy on this is simple. You should leave your children enough money so that they would feel they could do anything, but not so much that they could do nothing. And the only way to achieve this balance is to keep the number a secret until the very end. If they think they are getting nothing, they will work like they are getting nothing. They will build their own muscles. They will learn to hunt. And then if you do leave them a surprise, it will be a bonus, not a crutch. But there is another reason to keep this secret, and that is family war. Money is thicker than blood. If you tell your 3 children how you plan to divide your estate, you are inviting a civil war into your living room. Maybe you plan to give more to the daughter who took care of you when you were sick. Maybe you plan to give less to the son who has a gambling problem. These are your decisions. They are rational. But to them, it is not rational. It is a measurement of your love. If they know the numbers while you are still alive, Thanksgiving dinner becomes a negotiation. They will fight for your favor. They will manipulate you. They will resent each other. I have seen siblings who stopped talking to each other for 20 years because of a dispute over a will that hadn't even been executed yet. You must build a silence wall around your estate plan. Tell them you have taken care of things. Tell them they will be fine, but do not give them a spreadsheet. Do not let them count the money while you are still breathing. Your job as a parent is not just to provide for them financially. It is to protect them from the corrosiveness of unearned wealth. Let them struggle a little. Let them wonder. The struggle is where the character is built. And character is the only inheritance that the tax man cannot take away. And finally, we come to the 5th secret. This is the ultimate test of your character. You must never broadcast your good deeds, your charity, or your acts of kindness. We live in an era of virtue signaling. People give $10 to a homeless person, and then they spend an hour posting about it on Instagram to get 1,000 likes. They are not being kind. They are trading. They are trading a small amount of money for a large amount of social status. In my father's house, we learned about the inner scorecard versus the outer scorecard. The outer scorecard is what the world thinks of you. The inner scorecard is what you think of yourself. If you do something good and you feel the need to tell everyone, it means you are living by the outer scorecard. You are empty inside, so you need the applause of others to fill you up. But if you can do something magnificent, if you can help a friend in trouble, if you can donate anonymously and never tell a soul, you build something far more valuable than reputation. You build spiritual equity. You prove to yourself that you are a good person, not because you want credit, but because it is who you are. This applies to your struggles as well. Just as you should not broadcast your charity, you should not broadcast your grievances. There is a saying in football, never tell people your problems. 90% of them don't care, and the other 10% are glad you have them. When you complain, you show your belly. You show your weakness. In the game of wealth, you want to be impenetrable. You want to be the person who helps others but needs no help himself. So let us review the shadow code. 1, protect your net worth. Do not let them audit you. 2, protect your next move. Do not let them sabotage you. 3, protect your edge. Do not let them copy you. 4, protect your inheritance plan. Do not let them fight over you. 5, protect your good deeds. Do not let your ego corrupt you. If you can master these 5 silences, you will become a force of nature. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. They are loud because they are trying to convince you they matter. The quietest person in the room is usually the most dangerous. They are quiet because they already know they have the power. Be the quiet one. Build your fortress in the dark. Let your results be the only noise you make. And when you finally step into the light, you won't need to say a word. The world will already know who you are. That's all. Thanks for watching.